Thanks for tuning in to the Light of Conscience podcast. Today I interview Brandi Kiana Joe, holistic life coach and event planner, and she has come up with a way to integrate all of that into everything she does. And we also talk about relationships, which is something that she is fascinated by. Her wisdom shines through, and I really hope you get a chance to reach out to her. Wherever you're at, please subscribe to this podcast. You'll never miss another Wayshower's message. I'm also incredibly excited to start sharing about my new Mastery Intensive for Incomizing Your Brilliance. Please see the show notes for information and a link to apply for the pilot group that starts in October. And for now, enjoy the podcast. Love itself is molding us into what we be. Why wait for tomorrow when right now we can be free? So break down your defenses and throw away your shield and give yourself this moment to believe in what you feel. I'm super excited to have you on. I interviewed Ryan.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm so sorry to interrupt you, but I wanted to say thank you so much for having me on. Sorry about that.
No, that's perfect. So I interviewed Ryan Sharaba a couple weeks ago, and he mentioned you. And I'm like, I got to get her on. So that is only one reason I invited you, of course. You are you're definitely a wayshower. And the point of this whole podcast is to just highlight and spotlight and put wayshowers out there so people can know that they're not the only one. And maybe somebody will think, I need to meet this person. I need to either just say hi, or I totally feel you, or I want to work with you. And I'm open to whatever connection happen.
That's wonderful.
So thank you so much. The first thing I want to ask you is actually, how did you realize you were a wayshower?
What is a wayshower? That's the first time I've ever heard of that term. I'm so excited to learn something new. Tell me.
Well, another term is light worker that a lot of people already know.
Yes.
So light worker, but it's kind of more of like, there's a lot of light workers that maybe aren't necessarily wayshowers. To me, wayshowers are the ones who are here to really usher people into themselves, because we've had to do that for ourselves. So does that make sense?
Absolutely. Show the way. Show them the way. I get it now.
Exactly. So now that you know that, do you kind of have an idea?
Mm-hmm. I love that. I absolutely love that. What was the question?
It
when
was,
it hard, or?
How did you realize it? Now that you know what a wayshower means.
How did I realize it? Well, that's a pretty profound question, I think, because it's very interesting. I know that when I was 5 years old, I was going through a lot of trauma, and I felt like there was a lot of things that I had to do on my own. 5 years old, that's so young. It's so young. And I felt like I need to show myself the way. So for myself first, I had to be there for myself and figure out how do I process what's going on around me, and how do I continue to live? What is my why to continue to live? There's gotta be something else for me to experience. And I would say fast forwarding to my late 20s is when I was really trying to figure out, like, what the heck am I doing? There's got to be more things to experience than this, just working a 9 to 5, which I wasn't working a 9 to 5. I was working in retail, but just to say the common theme, but to work part-time or full-time hours, bringing home money, dating, and having okay relationships, or just enough relationships with family and friends. I just felt like there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be like euphoria while living on earth. And so So I kept searching, and when I finally actually I went traveling around the world for a year, and I finally asked, what is my purpose? And I was trying to avoid asking myself that question. And previous to that, I was already diving into psychology and learning about meditation and local foods and eating healthy, and what does eating healthy mean, and what are the products that we use. I was already doing a lot of research, but finally I came to a point where I asked, what is my purpose? And it wasn't too far after that I realized, like, wait, purpose. What does purpose mean? It means to have a reason to live. It means to have a reason to speak, to share, to connect with people. And when I started diving into that question, what is my purpose? That's when the beauty of it really started to surface, where it was like, okay, the universe is like, you're ready. You asked the question. Now we're going to give you all the answers that you've been waiting for. We've been waiting for you to wake up. We've been waiting for you to ask for assistance. And so I would ask, I remember one time I moved back to Hawaii, and I've lived here before. I moved away for like 13 years, traveled around the world, then came back. And I've always, the whole time that I was away, I had this gravitational pull to come back, but I kept having all these reasons why it couldn't happen. I didn't have family there. I didn't have a job. I didn't have enough money. I had all these different things that wouldn't support me. And it was just so negative focus. I was fighting to kill my dreams. And so finally I just said, I'm just going to go. I had this incredible urgency to come back to Hawaii after I asked, what is my purpose? And so I came back here, and I still didn't know what I was going to do for a living. I was in the culinary field, and I did a few things, and I had a job, I had a place, I had a car as soon as I came here, which is amazing. It was before I even got off the plane. Like, I had all this stuff set up. So it was beautiful. And I remember I had done one job, and then I realized, like, okay, this job is ending. So I did another job. I realized that one was ending, and I did another one. I was like, 3 jobs in 1 year. Come on, what is going on? And so I remember laying in my bed, and I was doing a lot of meditation, and I asked, okay, I surrender. I surrender. Show me the way. I'm ready. Just give it to me. I don't know what to do, but I'm open for the guidance. And that's when I realized, oh my gosh, I just need to create everything that I want to do, and I just need to go forward. But that's really when I started to wake up, and I started to use my hunger for knowledge and research all the things that I'm so passionate about, which is connecting with people. And I did a lot of research on myself, on what are my gifts. And when I looked at what my gifts were and I shared it with people, that's when I understood I can help show them the way. That's when I understood I need to share my gifts with other people, because I didn't realize that they were gifts until I saw how people were just like, oh my God, that's amazing, or that's so annoying. And one or the other, right? But they're extremes. They're like, wow, blown away, or wow, that's so irritating, get away from me. One of my gifts are being able to ask questions, asking good questions. And some people don't like that, because they might feel like, why are you asking me so many questions? Why are you questioning me? And it's like, because I want to know. I just want to learn. That's all. It has nothing to do like me targeting you or judging you. I just want to know more. And so, I mean, those are one of my gifts. And yeah, once I start sharing that, I realize, oh wow, I have something I can offer people. And sorry for the longest answer ever.
No, I loved it. And I have to say, I think you literally spoke to every single wayshower on this planet with that story. And one thing that you said so many amazing things, and I can't wait to go back and listen to this podcast just for that whole answer. But one thing that you said at one point was that you just laid down. I think you said you laid down.
Mm-hmm.
And you said that you surrender. Now, that was after you had traveled the world and done all these things where you're like, obviously that's kind of a heart following thing to do, because just randomly, like your mind is never going to be like, okay, now you're going to travel around the world because it's so logical, right? So you're already in this mix of, I'm going to follow this heart path, this path that lets me feel like I'm alive and I'm doing some, this is worth living for. But then you still were looking. And I think that's something that people kind of have a misconception of, once you just turn off the main road that you've been on, maybe like the mind road, and you turn onto the heart path, it's just going to be like easy breezy. There's no questions that ever arise again. But the fact is, you're just going to keep going on that path and taking these turns and those turns. And it's an opening always, and it never stops.
And that's the exciting thing about it. It never stops. I remember one of my clients asked me, how can I be happy all the time? And I said, I'm not going to like the answer. I don't know. I'm not going to be happy all the time, because it's not about being happy all the time. It's about the experience. It's about the experience. It's actually, there's so much beauty in not being happy all the time, because you really are getting the full experience of what being alive is, what being human is, because we're all spiritual beings, have a human experience. And this really is our playground to expand the essence of who we are, to expand our knowledge, to expand our heart, to remember that we're all connected, we're all brothers and sisters, and we all have something to offer. And really, when we're offering something, we're offering it to ourselves. It's really funny. And it's not because we're trying to offer it to ourselves, but that's just the beautiful piece of sharing your gifts and having that reciprocity. It's just, it's made that way. And people become depressed when they either misunderstand that they don't have purpose, or they don't think about purposeful living. A lot of times people spiral down that turmoil, and it's okay to feel sad or mad or all those emotions some of the time. And I think that it's actually a blessing. I mean, there's a few people that have come to me on suicidal missions, and they'll call me. And when I coach them, it's not, I don't do like a pity party, like, oh, I'm so sorry. And oh, let's, like, you can do it, and encourage them, to do another day and stay strong. I have a completely different coaching style. It's really about, let's sit with the sadness. Let's see what's going on. What else is going on underneath there? And when you start to tune in to the whys and the hows, the whens and whats, I think that you're allowing your mind to exercise and connect with your heart. So now there's communication, and we need to have that constant communication instead of just using your mind and judging your heart. Like, oh no, I don't like this feeling. This is not a good feeling because I feel sad, or this is not a good feeling because I feel mad or that I'm angry. No, all of those is human nature. And that emotion, really, when we look at what is emotion, what's the definition of emotion? Emotion is energy in motion. It's energy moving. And when tears come, that's a release of emotion. And that could be joy, sadness, anger, frustration, excitement. But these are healthy to have. I mean, when people express anger or frustration, like, no, let it run its course. Let the emotion run its course, because if it doesn't, it's going to burst out in other ways. Like it's going to be suppressed. And so it's like, no, feel all of that stuff. Let it all out in a safe way. But, it's like, now you feel alive. If you were angry, you wouldn't feel alive. If you weren't sad, you wouldn't feel alive, because you don't know what that feels like. I think more the concern is when you feel numb. It's like, now we need to inspire emotion. We need to inspire, motivation, thought. Like, let's just spark interest in that. So.
Yeah, definitely. You reminded me of something. I'm a total nerd, and
me too.
But yay, go nerds! But I made this little really short video. It's on YouTube, and it's called "Throwing Shit Legit Style."
Oh, that sounds exciting.
because when I was a kid and I didn't quite have the rein on my emotions as I might now as much, I remember breaking something because I have no clue what I was upset about, but I slammed like the stick of a broom onto my bed, and there was a picture on there with glass, with it was framed with glass, and of course it broke because I I whipped it on the and one day later, I remembered that. And I was probably like, I went through a lot of years of where, I mean, any emotion that came up, I was lucky. I lived alone. I was just in a space where I could just do what I needed to do to get over them. So
Right.
this takes some thought, though, right? You can't just pick something up and throw it, right? But
Right.
use your
Well,
brain
you
to
can,
assess
but
the
there may
situation.
be
I mean, you can, but you
yeah.
might break something. So rather than that, find something soft. Make sure you're not going to throw it at your pet, and then just slam it down. And it actually, it feels really good. And
Yeah.
another thing I do if I'm really upset and I just can't snap out of it is I'll lay down on my back and I'll just start flailing my arms and legs. And sometimes I'll scream.
Yeah. Let it out.
It is just like, I'll do it until I'm just like wiped out. And guess what?
Yes.
I feel a hell of a lot better.
Oh, I'm so glad that you shared those, because those are great techniques. Those are a couple of techniques that I also share with my clients and share with people. I think it's so important to release it. And the last one is like having a temper tantrum. And I think that is so important to have that. And when we think about temper tantrums, we often think about little kids and how there's no limitations on how they express their feelings. They let it all out. And the adults usually are embarrassed in public because they're like, oh, sorry, I'm a good parent, I promise. And there's so many layers I could just say with that already. But coming back to releasing tension with that temper tantrum, when we look at kids who do release their anger, let's say it is anger, and they're talking it out, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're wailing their hands around, or they're kicking, or they're definitely expressing it through movement. And then what happens is that it starts to build up, and then it gets crazy. It gets to that boiling point, and then they start to cry, because it's like, again, crying is a huge release of emotion. It's the body's way of releasing emotion, and it to me is like the finale. It's like, yay! Now this person is really letting it out. So the kid normally cries, and then what happens with the kid afterwards is that he or she starts to soothe him or herself, either rocking, laying down in fetal position, grabbing a pet, grabbing a teddy bear, grabbing a pillow, grabbing a blanket, holding themselves, sucking their thumb. They start to do something that is soothing. And the beautiful thing about that is once that happens, it's done. It's over with. They're not going to say, you remember that one time when you did this to me? No, once they pass that, they fully exhausted that emotion, and it's not something that they need to come back to. They may express themselves again the same way, but it's a different experience. It's a different emotion that they're expressing. There's a different situation that they've now experienced a new emotion and expressing it the same way. But as adults, if we can do something similar to that in our own safe haven, then wow, boy, will we be getting over things a lot easier. And it's something that I practice, and I tell people directly too, like I had to pull over and yell. I was so upset. I was crying and, all this stuff. And if I'm sharing this with someone, they're like, oh my gosh. I'm like, it was so good. I'm so glad I did it. I'm over it.
Yeah, seriously. And then, when we're on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, people will see us always happy, usually, depending on who they are. Some people are they also share a lot of their lower stuff. But it's funny to have people be surprised because, like, they see you maybe as somebody that's just always, like, on top of her shit and happy and feeling good, and I'm gonna go surf now, yeah. And then they hear like you had a bad day, and they just, what? How is this possible? Like, No, 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 it's a part of the human. That's why, yeah, I'm gonna go out and surf is so awesome. Because you
Right.
know what it feels like to not feel that way too.
Right. I think, you know, for me, it's so funny because on social media, I'm not on social media as much as I used to be, just because I'm busier doing things in person, or I'm coaching or doing events. And it's so interesting. I have a different outlook. I have a different perspective on social media than I did before. Before, I would share so many different things, and I actually got a lot of clients through social media, just expressing my authentic self. But now on social media, it's like I crave so much of this type of connection, of having the one on ones, the in persons, or if it's virtually or on the phone. But I love like really being able to connect with people through conversation. And so social media, I feel like it's such a wonderful catalyst to connect with people and to share what you're doing, to update them. But I think that from where I was on social media and where I'm at right now, I probably look a little cold because I'm just I'm not present as much as I used to be. But it's so contradicting to what I like to do. Like I love to be with people. So it, you know what I mean? Like on social media, it's like she's barely on there. She doesn't, I don't check my messages all the time because I'm doing this in-person stuff. So it's so interesting. So
I
interesting.
do, no, I do know what you mean. I absolutely do. In fact, I've met some people on social media, and it is, I think you used the word catalyst, and it is a really good catalyst for creating those relationships. And then sometimes you're just going to hang out in a group, say, or whatever, and see them every once in a while. But and this is actually something I'm experimenting with. Literally, the idea came to me yesterday with highlighting or spotlighting, different way showers on different channels. And
Mm-hmm.
what I want to do, I don't want to say I don't care. I care about every aspect of them, but I want to share the most relatable things about them. So
Mm-hmm.
usually that's not, here's my website, go check me out. It's a
Right.
part of their story, or
Right.
or something about them that is going to relate to other way showers. And so I want to share that. Maybe they'll get clients out of it. Maybe they'll just make a connection. Maybe they'll have a one-on-one connection, and they're going to start collaborating and doing their work together in the world and making a huge, bigger difference.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what huge, bigger is, but I like it, so I used it.
I love it. I love it, Laura. I think that I'm so grateful that we met, and I'm so grateful that you're doing what you're doing. I'm grateful that you're allowing your creativity to lay out the stepping stones for you to continuously express yourself, express who you are, and your vision. And I completely support you. I love what you're doing, and it's you know we're very much on similar paths. My mission is to help make the world a better place, and I don't think it takes one person to make the world a better place. It takes the world to make the world a better place. And so I don't believe in like competition. I'm like, no, we do the same thing. Let's do it together. I'll help promote you. And you know what I mean? Like there's an abundance of everything. So I just applaud you for doing what you do. And I'm so excited to share anything, any of the updates. I'm happy to share that with people, with my network, and hoping we can get more people connected with you as well.
Thank you so much. Wow, that like, oh, I just feel so warm and fuzzy now. But
Yay!
same with you. I remember the night we met, and it was in person, which was awesome. And you handed me a business card, and her business cards, by the way, if you run into Brandi, Kiana, Joe, get one. They're just gorgeous. But it says on there, we met for a reason. And one part of me, there were two parts to this. One part of me was like, yeah. And the other part was, oh, that's so, how come I didn't think of that? Because it's so brilliant.
That's so funny.
And it's so true. And the work that you do, which I'd love to get into a little bit more. I mean, you telling your story is basically a lot about sharing how you do your work, just because we are so like, this is who I am. And so this is how I present myself and do my work in the world. But I just, yeah, I just loved that. And I thought, yes, this person. And actually, you have a program or an event, I guess, called Girlfriends. And it's about just what you were saying. Like, yeah, we're all doing pretty much the same thing, but differently. Let's
Yes.
do it together. And
Yes.
I've I've known about this for months. And my work schedule and where I live and all of this is kind of just has been preventing me from getting to one. But I just know that at the right time, maybe even by the time this podcast airs, I'll have one, or I'll either have been to one or I'll have one in my books because I'm really excited about it. But that's just another thing with the surrender and the trust. You just have to let go and say, you know what? There's so many beautiful things out there. There's so many.
Yes.
You just need to kind of let the things come to you that come to you when they come to you and not worry about it if, just don't get attached because.
Yeah, absolutely. And Girlfriends has been going on for 14 months now, and 2019 is already planned out. And so you're going to come, you're going to come to them for sure. And we're going to have them in multiple places going on simultaneously. So it's going to be really exciting. There's going to be a lot of ways that people can go to Girlfriends. So
that is awesome. So as far as your work, I had asked you what inspires you most about your work, and you said that you could go in depth with it, of course, and you're welcome to. So however much or however little you want to share, and then tell us a little bit first about what you actually do. I know you're a holistic coach and you create events. Does it all tie in together? Are they two separate things?
Yes, they all tie in together. So the holistic coaching came first, and well, sort of, as far as like work as a business, the holistic coaching came first, and it's, not to stray away too much from the word business. It's my purpose. It's my passion. And while I was coaching people, I realized how much more I wanted to offer and how much I wanted to bring people together. So I create experiential events, and I create so many. I've created more than 30 in the last 2.5 years. So it's kind of wild to say that. And I have like 7 different events that I'm working on right now. I have 2 this weekend, and it just keeps going. It's wonderful, but I just have so many ideas. So I'm not someone who just likes to dream. I like to do as well. So I like to dream, and then I want to see it happen. I want to produce it. I want to see it fruit. I want to see people connect. And Girlfriends is one of those events. That is a networking event for women to empower women and strengthen sisterhood. And it has a beautiful blend of personal and professional development. So we focus on making meaningful relationships before exchanging services, which is incredible because we don't even talk about what we do for a living in the very beginning. I ask everyone to hold that to the very, very end when I say, and it's the last activity that we do. And the reason why we do that is it eliminates preconceived judgment. If you're at a networking event and you meet someone that's a surgeon and you're a 2nd grade teacher, you might have this preconceived judgment, like, I can't connect with this person. What are we going to talk about? And so already there's that disconnection. But at Girlfriends, we don't talk about that to the very end. So you can fully get to know someone's personality. And when we want to expand our network, we need to build relationships. We need to build relationships that is in alignment with our values. So if we're a caring person, if we want to do something positive in the community, if we want to help kids, we want to teach, if we want to be an entrepreneur, like, we need to understand what are our common interests, what are our common values. And then the networking, the exchanging services, like, that's a bonus. Let's first build the relationships. And so in Girlfriends, we do a variety of activities to help us unfold. We do guided group discussions. Sometimes we do guided meditations, aroma yoga, dancing, painting, dream boards. The list goes on. It really depends on who's co-leading the event and what the topic is. And that's just an example of how my coaching plays into the event.
It's a good example.
You're getting a goulash of everything in one. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And for your is it one-on-one coaching? Do you do group coaching?
Well, because the events have so much of my coaching entail, it is like a big group coaching session. Sometimes it just depends on the agenda of the event. But yeah, oftentimes it is group coaching. I do one-on-one coaching, and then I can also help with couples. And couples isn't necessarily romantic couples. It could be mother-daughter.
Okay.
Done a few mother-daughter couple sessions, and yeah, so
relationship beyond just.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm open. I'm open to sharing what I know with whoever this resonates with.
Are your clients primarily male or female, or a mix of both? Just curious.
Yeah, you know what? It's really funny because in the beginning of my coaching, I had more male. It was predominantly male. And that was actually one of the reasons why I was inspired to produce Girlfriends, is because I want more feminine energy in my life. And so ever since Girlfriends started, I've been having more female clients. But I love coaching both. I get along really well with men. I have a great, there's a lot of great things that will happen with men and also women too. So I love both. I mean, I remember one of my friends, he was getting his master's in psychology, and he did a psychology report on me. And I was excited about it when he asked me. I was like, I love taking personality tests. Sign me up. I love learning about me. Let's see what we're going to do. I got to tell you, I did not like it one bit. It was so frustrating for me because the personality tests, these were all clinical tests. And he made me choose black or white. And I'm color, I'm gray. I'm totally right down the middle. And it would take me so long to answer these questions. I remember pacing back and forth, like, I don't like this. What I do not like this. It's only giving me yes or no. But I believe that there's validity in both sides. And so when the results came back, he said, this is very, very rare, but you really are right down the middle. So when it came to masculine or feminine energy, I'm right down the middle. And he said that is very, very rare. And then also when I've taken tests about right or left hemisphere of the brain, like which are you dominant, I'm right down the middle as well. So I feel really good about having masculine and feminine energy. I love coaching men and women and different ages too, but yeah.
That's awesome. And like you said, it is rare. Usually people will come out and just say, like, I work primarily with women, or I work with men. Most people seem to work with women. I don't know if it's because women are more open to it, or if I just know more women and women usually work with women. I don't know. But it's something that I've thought about too, because anytime you're in like a class or a course or a discussion even about marketing or business or whatever, it's always like, who's your ideal client? Do you work with male or female? And it's like, I don't really know. But as far as like my music, I'll get a lot of guys that will, when they hear it, they really love my music. And so do women. But for some reason, I'm surprised that the guys like it. I don't know why. But
it might just be the timing in your life there's purpose for that coming into your life at this point to examine, getting more of that masculine experience. That's exciting.
Possibly, yeah. Yeah. Actually, on that note, this might be bonus content, but I think I have found a way for women to pick up men.
Oh, I'm all about this. I actually released, I have like a relationships guide that I've been creating, but there's one, it was it's a free guide that I offered, and it's about, I forgot what it was. It's about amazing men, like what amazing men want. And that, I think, boy, with what we're talking about right now, that this could be a really, really cool collaboration. I love relationships so much, and I could talk about this all day, all night.
Well, this is kind of a joke, but yesterday and then another day a few weeks ago, my husband had me pick a beer for him. Now, both of those times I had some random guy start talking to me when I was carrying that beer, and I'm thinking, Dude, if you want to get a guy's attention, you go buy a 12 pack.
That is so funny. That should be on a commercial. That should be your debut right there. The commercial that sells the bonus content.
But anyways, that's my joke. But it is also true.
Yeah.
A random guy talked to me both times.
You know, I love relationships so much. I mean, I do have this inspiration to do a dating. I would love to coach men and women on dating, on like those TV shows that have the mic in the ear or have the earphone on, and then I'm in their ear on the mic and I'm coaching them. Like, I would love to do that sometime and coach people on how to pick up women or how to pick up men, or I would just have so much fun with it. I mean, I feel like I just love it so much.
I can see this like whole program, this whole course, this whole like you're on the stage and there's just tens of thousands of people. Like, how do I do this?
I started to put these programs together. I didn't complete it because I actually got a little overwhelmed because I was like, how do I put this all on right now? Like, there's too much information coming out. So I wrote some things down, and all I have to do is just, make it pretty and present it. But it's still like every time I get into it, I'm like, there's too much information. And I'm going to be here all day, and I have a coaching call and I have to do these events. So I should probably set like a deadline or something to get that done.
Yeah. Or I can be your accountability partner if you want.
Yeah.
And I'll just text you every week and say, how's that relationship? Is it a course? What is it?
Well, what I have, it's just information. It's a program. It would be, it's like self-guided tools. You can work on your own.
Perfect.
Yeah. So, but I want to work with people more on that, like coaching them through picking up a guy. I think that's so much fun.
So then I have another question for you about that, because I think it's important. There's so many people out there looking for somebody, right? Like, we want to have that partner. And it's almost impossible to get your real true partner until you kind of stop trying so hard, in my opinion. Now, that's not saying that you're not, out there doing your thing and everything, but I'm wondering if an underlying theme in your program or your tools is to not sacrifice or compromise who you really are in order to get that man or that woman into your life.
Yes. Oh boy. The magic about it, of actually meeting someone, is being completely yourself, living in your authentic self. So what I mean by that is explore the grounds that you live on, explore the relationships that you have, and invest in all the things that bring you joy. Invest in all the things that bring you joy, happiness, inspires you to learn, inspires you to do new things. When you come from that area, you'll notice that you're living in the moment. You'll notice that your heart will start to open. And it's actually through your heart chakra that you will be able to bring in love. You will be able to bring in love. So I think a lot of times people are searching with their mind, trying to figure out, like, I have a checklist, I have my value list, I have my interests, I have things that I want to do in the future. I have this plan that I would really love to manifest, but they're working so much from their mind that they ignore their heart and they ignore the things that allows them to live in the moment. And so they start to close off opportunities that the universe is trying to give to you, or higher power, or nature, or divine, or whatever you would like to call that. But when you don't think about, like, what is it that I need? Everything you need, it comes from within. Everything you need comes from the experience that you have, the relationships you have with others. So if you would really love to feel comfort, perhaps look in the relationships that you have presently And how can you deepen your friendships with people? How can you deepen your relationships with your family? Because who knows? I mean, that's going to open another pathway that will, again, open your heart even more, which will create new opportunities. So they may have friends that will introduce you that's single, that just happens to be, it's not because they're trying to hook you up, but it's because now is the time. So I think living with your authentic self, diving in, exploring what brings you happiness, what brings you joy, allow yourself to live in the moment and trust that as you continue to be happier, as you continue to open your heart, that it will come. For me, when I met one of my soulmates, I knew that I was going to meet him. I knew what he looked like. I knew what he did for a living, in a sense. I knew a lot about him, but I was so in tune. I had increased my sensitivity, everybody's psychic on some level, it's whether we realize it or not. And I increased my sensitivity so much that I already knew, like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm going to meet someone. I feel like I'd already asked the universe, like, I'm ready to meet my soulmate, bring him in. But really, being happier, living through your authentic self, allow your heart to open and listen to your heart. Let your mind listen to your heart, instead of the reverse, telling your heart what to do. Yeah, it'll all happen. There's more in depth I can go with that, but I'm trying to stop myself.
You said it, though. You said it. You just said it all. That's it. Like, let your mind listen to your heart. Allow that. Oh my God. Your life changes so much.
Yes.
And it's beautiful. And it might not look like you think it was going to look.
Yeah.
But the thing is, what it probably did is it looks even better. Yeah.
Exactly.
That's so awesome. I'm so thrilled. I did want to ask you, though, before we close up, if there's anything else that you just want to mention to all of the Light of Conscience community.
Yes. Well, I want to thank everyone that is listening. By listening, you're supporting so many things. You're supporting Laura, you're supporting me, you're supporting yourself. And you were meant to listen to this. You are meant to be where you're at. Everything is perfect. If you have any doubt with what you're doing right now, don't worry about it. Continue to follow your heart. Listen, trust the universe, trust that divine timing is happening right now. And as long as you continue to behave, speak through your heart, think through your heart, then everything works out. And I know that may sound vague, but it really is about tuning to what feels good in your heart. Ask yourself, does this serve me in my highest good? Continue to ask yourself, even the times when you feel bad, be gentle with yourself. Speak from your heart. Think through your heart. Don't judge yourself when things don't go the way you think it's supposed to go, because again, divine timing, as long as you follow your heart, and everything will work out. I just want to get so much more in depth with that, but
how can they find you? How can they?
Oh, yes.
Then they can get more in depth with you.
Yes. Well, there's a few different ways. I mean, because I produce events on Oahu, you can always come to my events. Please visit my website, which is www.oneexperience.guru. That's all spelled out, oneexperience.guru. And you'll see my events on there. You can also find me on Facebook as Brandi Kiana Joe, on Instagram as Brandi Kiana Joe. But yeah, women, if Girlfriend sounds like fun to you, please attend. It's a very small group. We have new people come in all the time. We have return people come in all the time. It's always a different group of people. And it's usually around a group of 15 women. And the common thing that I hear every woman say is that they're stepping out of their comfort zone. So if you feel like, I don't know if I can do that, everybody's going to know each other. Nobody knows each other. Sometimes if they're repeat people, they'll like, oh my gosh, I saw you at this one time. And then there's people who co-lead it and will know each other. But a lot of people come in wanting to make new friends, wanting to learn about themselves, how to expand their network. A lot of people come as visitors and they might have just moved to Oahu. So again, we'll be taking this to different areas, and part of that is going to go to the mainland. So the first place that we'll take girlfriends is California, and then we'll be spreading it out to different areas as well as Austin, Chicago. I'm sure we'll take it to New York and some more places. So definitely stay tuned and go to oneexperience.guru and out to me. I'd love to meet you.
Well, thank you so much. There is a lot of yard work going on around my house right now. So I unfortunately, I got to cut this off. But all of Brandi's information will be in the show notes. So you can find her at her website or online. And I am just so grateful that you were here to share your story and a little bit about you with all of us. You really are lighting up the world. And I feel so grateful just to know you.
Oh, likewise, Laura. I'm so grateful for you sharing your love and light and sharing your gifts with the world. I think it's such a blessing, and you're making a difference in so many different ways. So I thank you so much for your work and your beingness.
Thank you.
Until
so next time.
Aloha.
Wow, she's awesome. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope you do reach out to her if you're looking for coaching or want to attend a girlfriend's event or any of the other events that she puts on. If you're looking for wayshower support and different tools that take literally no extra time or energy from you, join Club LC, where you can receive Reiki every single week. And what I mean by it's no commitment, I send it to your energy field and you get to choose when you receive it. So it might be remembering that night to say, oh yeah, I want to receive the energy from Club LC, and boom, it's there for you. I send insights from each Reiki send after as well, so you'll never forget. You'll always have that reminder, oh yeah, I get to receive this energy now to continue to stay aligned with my vision, my truth, and my light. You also receive meditations, songs, and other tips. You get early access to all of these podcasts and outtakes from all these podcasts as well. So you can see a little bit more into the making of the Light of Conscience podcasts. It can be pretty fun. Club LC is all about getting wayshowers to the point where their dimmer switch is up all the way to 100% brightness 100% of the time. Even so much so that they can take that dimmer switch and throw it out. We need you to shine because this world needs the light of conscience. Visit bit.ly/club L C. Make sure that LC is capitalized because it stands for Light of Conscience and Laura Christine. Don't forget to apply for the Mastery Intensive for Incomizing Your Brilliance pilot group to start in October, and definitely join us in the Light of Conscience community on Facebook if you're not there already. All the links are below. We'll see you in the Light of Conscience. And